Okay. The last message that I have here overall is, I feel like, new beginnings are happening for you, and it's going to happen from now until the next 4 months. So we are in June right now. So I do feel that, by October, everything will be solidified by the time of Libra, like the next air sign. I feel like everything will be solidified. Everything will be set in stone. And so the ideas that you run with for this month is going to be very important. And so they're saying, endings are being left things have come to an end and new waves of energies are coming through for you guys for this month, permeating into the next 4 months. So what you do is really, really important. So that means, grabbing life by the horns a little bit. Don't straddle the fence too much. Don't hesitate too much. Just run with an idea and see how it's going to pan out for you. Okay. So let me just talk about the energies coming through from this spread and for this month. So going back to what I mentioned earlier about tradition and order, okay, this is a card about methodically doing what has been tried and true in the past. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And I feel like a lot of you have this type of a mentality where you believe in, the walking in the footsteps of your ancestors, walking in the footsteps of the people before you, they're saying like building, like standing upon the shoulders of giants, which basically means that there's a lot to work with. Existing rules, regulations, and things like that have been put into place. They've been tried and tested, and they're there for a reason. However, a lot of the times, things are very slow moving and people are very resistant to change. And so in the face of this massive sweeping change that's happening for you, it can go one of two ways. We can be really afraid and kind of like immobilized by fear when it comes to new changes, and that forces us to cling even tighter to what we know is tried and true. And then on the opposite end of that is we can embrace the change by being a lot more open, a lot more flexible, and a lot more receptive to the new energies that are trying to come through. So I feel like some of you might be holding on to these things. And I feel that further down the line, you might be dealing with some disappointment, mainly because you weren't on the forefront of that wave of change, or you try to hang on to, tradition, order, and things that you're used to. And so they're really urging you to move ahead, okay? And they're urging you that changes are not always bad, especially if it has been well thought out, if it has been, tried and tested in a smaller scale. So I feel that this is a big month for you to release these things that are not working, outdated beliefs, outdated system, outdated, like archaic, patterns of doing, in order to be able to embrace something new. And I do feel it is bringing up a little bit of anxiety in you, but I do sense that, because of these past few years that you have endured, and I feel like the past few years, the past 3 years, for example, there has been a lot of sweeping changes happening in your life. You might have, planned for one thing, for one course of action, and you might have been like, oh, it's going to come out exactly like this. But along the way, the past 3 years, many of you have taken many unexpected detours. You have also seen a lot of, some resistance as well as some setbacks in your plans and your ideas. Things that you thought were going to lead you down this other path that's tried and true and safe might have led you down, might have opened up new opportunities for you. So I feel like there has been a lot of just deviations from the main plan. There has been a lot of surprises and unexpected events. The energy is continuing. And so I feel like some of you have that, wisdom, that insight, that no matter what I plan, or no matter how sure I am of a specific outcome, I need a contingency plan just in case. So you're being a lot smarter about it, and you're being a lot more open and receptive overall to, changes. Okay. So I feel like overall that is a good thing, but I do see a small segment of Scorpios that are still retrenchment. Okay. Like the message is like, you're still dealing with retrenchment. You're still dealing with stagnation. And I feel that out of your own sheer stubbornness, you might not want to change, and change is coming. So ease up a little bit and try to let things go and try to embrace new things. They're not always bad, but I feel that it has created some anxieties in you. But I do sense deep down, intuitively, intuitively, I feel that you know what needs to be done, but just on a, you're not somebody that falls to social pressure, but I feel like just on a practical level, you're not ready. Okay. So I feel like intuitively, you know, it's the right thing to do, but just it's going to take some time for you, for the rest of you to catch up to that point where you're going to be a lot more ready and receptive to these sweeping changes. So what we have here, this card basically denotes, you know, very, very strong intuition. Okay. Intuition, whether or not we have what it takes to start a business. This is a card here about, you know, having a lot of financial resources where you can start to give back to your community, where you can start to give back to other people. So I feel that you have some hangups here about major new economic endeavor, like a new professional endeavor, a new job, a new major endeavor. And you're not really sure whether or not you have the experience for sure. And I know that with a lot of you Scorpios, you don't really, you know, brag about things. So unless you have the skills and the life experience to back up something, you're always going to be a little bit uncertain, right? So at this junction that you're in right now, I do feel that you're not really sure whether or not you have the financial abundance in order to do something, or you're not really sure if you were to take this course of action, are you going to have enough financial abundance to sustain yourself? So I do feel that while ideas are coming through, you know, there's a lot of new things bubbling and brewing. A little bit of preliminary research is going to be required for you. So this means doing a little bit more of a skills upgrade, doing a little bit more kind of like having to reach out to the public a little bit more. That's going to put you on center stage. Having to create an environment where people are going to believe what you have to sell, your products, your ideas. So I do feel that a little bit of showmanship and a little bit more of a sales pitch is required for you. And I feel like that's an area that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. Okay. You don't want to have to like convince people what you're capable of. But I do feel in this context, and especially for this month, going into the next 4 months might be required. Okay. So one of the things that is coming through, and they want you to be a little bit careful about here, is this is money coming through from a financial institution. So if you are, for whatever reason, starting to undertake something, so like a major, major endeavor, and you need buy-in, so you need to take out a loan, you need to take out, you know, like huge amount of money, you need financiers to back you up with something, for example. Don't take out more than you can afford to pay back, because I feel like this loose energy, a lot of things happening, and you're just like, why don't I do both of these projects at the same time? And you to end up taking out a huge loan. They're saying, you know, small steps. Okay. They're saying like to, guard against taking out something when your collateral, you know, the collateral might be taken away from you, or you're, over exceeding, like you're exceeding the amount of credit that, you're not able to pay it back. So just be very, very careful about money coming through from like financial institutions, money coming through from lenders, financiers, etc. Okay, so there has to be a system, a very strict system of accountability when it comes to, you know, who's giving who money, where is it going, and are things itemized and transparent enough so that the people understand where their money is being used. Okay, so I feel like that's a major problem here. I feel honestly, a lot of you are poised to be in a position of power. So like, working alongside, but also managing and having a lot of control over other people. So you have like a huge amount of influence over other people. You might be a teacher where you're shaping young minds. You might be in a position where, you know, you're in the public space like a politician. You might also be a professor. You might also be like a community project coordinator, a business owner, for example. So I feel a lot of power that you're wielding, but I feel as well, you are doing it very responsibly because you don't want to, you want to do the right thing. So there are opportunities as well. If you are in that position of prominence, there will be people coming through, soliciting you, and they're kind of telling you, here are all the ideas that I have. And I feel like most of them, they have solid ideas. They have clear agendas, altruistic like motives and projects that they want to do that have, that will yield a really good result for everybody involved. But I do feel that because of the constraints of the environment that you're working in, you might not go ahead with all of these, progressive or different or even innovative ideas, because there's a fear of failure here. So I feel that it would be in your best interest to see what ideas are being presented and how you can, tweak it based on your skills and your expertise. Because I feel like somebody's coming to you. They might have like the preliminary framework, but they have not worked out all the kinks yet. And they're coming to you like, this is what I have. Can you help me with that? And I feel like you doing this to in multiple settings, to multiple people. And they're coming to you mainly because they want you to, be that sounding board and to help them pass that common sense test. Okay. So that's what I feel happening for you for this month. There's a lot of, it's like making connections with a lot of other people. There's also dealing with the concept about dealing with people who are deeply, deeply ingrained and stubborn and just, who are unwilling to change their ways, who wield a lot of power, but they do want to hoard power. And they might also be a little bit more, they're very resistant to change. And then on the other hand, you're also, pulled in the other direction, dealing with people who are young, idealistic with a lot of ideas, but they need to, they need your insights. They need your input to how to shape and shift their ideas so that things are working out well. So either way, you wield a lot of power for this month, Scorpio, and what you say, what you do has a lot of influence in your professional work environment. So speaking, I feel like from the heart, based on your intuition, if you believe that something's not going to pan out, maybe, saying it as such, or if you believe something is outdated, these rules are no longer applicable, there is a lot of hindrance or whatever it is you believe in. If you feel something's not working, I feel that, don't be afraid to advocate for it and to really stick up for the things that you really believe in, because I feel there's an element here about, being a conformist when you feel that the rules and regulations in place are not really effective. Okay. So overall, there's a lot of things here about, overcoming the past, letting things go, letting go of emotional baggage, hang-ups and things from the past, even possibly work situations that are no longer working. And so you're shifting to a new environment, housing situations as well. And I feel strongly relationships, because we end up here as you, as the single person. Okay. So I feel that letting go of these emotional holdups, hang-ups from the past, as well as not being on the defensive anymore, not having to contend with people coming back from the past. That's something that's really, but in the process of clearing up the clutter from the past, I feel like that's why this massive new wave of energy is coming through for you guys. And I feel like the only way that you could get this, and the only way that, things are really starting to solidify and take shape for this month, is because you have kind of like cut off those cord of attachments to the past, where you're no longer siphoning your energy to it. Your energy is a lot more concentrated, it's a lot more directed, and that's why we have this newfound momentum coming through for this month. So let me just talk about the present situation. If you find that this present message resonates with you, then I guess watch the rest. If not, the rest might not apply to you. So let me just talk about the present position. We have here the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it basically means, walking away from a situation that we have invested a lot of time and energy and resources and emotions in. And in this context, this is something that I feel there was a significant relationship. And it was quite significant. You might have been together for years. You might have been married. You might have been engaged. You expended a lot of energy working, building, and catering to that relationship. And I do feel this is the month in which you can no longer emotionally keep yourself tied to that relationship, waiting on the decision of another person, waiting for them to get their life together, waiting on things. So I do feel a lot of you have decided to move on, and you're doing it in a very lighthearted manner, okay? I don't feel there was bad blood between you and that person from the past. I feel like a lot of you have started to realize that it's not me, it's not them, it's just we are innately incompatible. So this is a card overall about success, but in the depiction it's two horses, seahorses, uh, aiming for different directions, wanting different things in life, and two people that can't really see eye to eye, can't really move a relationship together as a couple. So yes, there might have been, a lot of love, a lot of passion, a lot of chemistry, and a lot of emotional investment. And so I don't feel that you and the other person are, hate each other or anything like that. So I feel like it was an amicable end to a relationship, mainly because there was just lack of compatibility overall. And with them, whenever you're with them, I feel that you feel a little bit anxious. You feel a little bit like threatened. And you feel almost as if, yes, it's fun and exciting, but where are things headed further down the line? And so I feel like you have been grappling with this decision for quite some time. Where am I headed? Where you're headed is not in the direction that they're headed. So it has nothing to do with bad blood between two people. It deals more with just, professionally in the present, moment in your life. You might be wanting different things, very, very different things out of life. And as a couple, it's really hard to work together with both people being able to achieve the things that they want without, one person feeling like they had to put their life on hold and dealing with resentment. So I feel like you're making the smart choice to let a relationship go, mainly because of that reason. In the past, what I have here is the King of Wands, and I feel like some of you might have been dealing with this person. This is a fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is somebody who's very courageous. They are an ideas person, and I feel like they're very, very courageous. They love to help other people. They love to fight for other people. They love to travel. They love their independence to come and go as they please. And, this is someone who's very loving and protective. So affectionate, loving, and protective. And for whatever reason, like they don't seem like a bad person. They're very sure about what they want. And, a lot of the times when I see a fire sign or an air sign, fire signs in particular, I feel like, fire is something that is very vital to life, to sustain life, right? A lot of people say water, but I feel like with fire, it is something that spreads. And so I feel like this person, they have a lot of love. And so their love is more for humanity. Their love is for social causes. Their love is for something that is bigger than themselves. So I feel like you're dealing with somebody who you feel like I'm not enough for them. That's what it feels like to me. And then from their perspective, yes, they love you, but they also love everything else, everybody else, all the social causes, all the people that they can help. So you're dealing with somebody whose love is sincere, but it's not very concentrated to just you only. And so I feel like there is an element of threat to that, because you are somebody with very deep, profound emotional depth. And when you love somebody, you want it to be like an all-encompassing experience. And I feel like with this person, it might not have been such, okay? And I don't feel like, once again, there's any hostility between you and this person. It's also linked up here with the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups is dealing with a lot of disappointment, dealing with a lot of regret, and as well, dealing with situations that I feel it's like dealing with like emotions. So I feel that this person, they're trying to, sort things out in their life. They're also, they're lacking in, like, because they're constantly go, go, go. They're constantly, churning. they don't really have time to reflect on their lives, on their actions, on events that happen. So I feel like they're lacking in self-awareness, they're lacking in insights, they're lacking in wisdom overall. So, and I do sense that because of it, they might not realize they might not realize that even when you were in a relationship with them, it felt very lonely. Okay, because they're a little bit more for themselves. So even when you were in the relationship with them, it just felt almost as if you were kind of put on the back burner. Like their energy was so bright and so strong and so pure that they might have put you on the back burner inadvertently. And so, which brings us to the present moment here. And I feel that you might have decided, we're not working towards the same goals. We're not very compatible. So it's time to cut our losses. And so the foundation is something that you know to be true. We have here the strength card, and the strength card basically denotes, very strong physical chemistry, very strong attraction that you have to another person. But the other person, I do feel that the environment itself is not supportive for their growth. So it's almost like you're happy with the status quo and the other person wants more, or they're happy with the status quo. But I feel like it might be you, Scorpio. You're happy with the status quo. You're happy with the way things are. You're definitely happy with this passion and the chemistry and the very physical connection that you have with one another. But I feel it's lacking in that emotional aspect. And you might feel that the relationship is holding the two of you back from your personal goals, your professional goals, as well as their personal and professional goals. So whatever it is, I feel like there is a relationship here. Yes, there's love. Yes, there's chemistry, and there's great respect for one another as human beings. But I feel like there's an element here about one person feeling as if it's not enough. Okay, like it's not enough. And you might have felt this for quite some time, but this is the month in which you might need to move away from it because for whatever reason, you or your partner feels as if this is not enough to sustain us. Okay. Crowning this reading is something that you are thinking about. We have here the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is basically, it's kind of like the intersection of all the pieces in the puzzles have to be in place so that we can start to see the big picture. But I also feel like this is kind of like the converging. All the events have to happen. Everything happened for a reason, and they all happen so that we can start to figure out, oh, this wasn't good for me the whole time, or that's what it was. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't their fault. It was just, circumstantial. So I feel that this is what happened. I honestly feel like possibly last month for many of you, last month, possibly during that new moon. And so because it had to happen, I do sense that you're at a point where you're no longer beating yourself up. You're no longer trying to fix things. You're no longer, I guess like blaming yourself. Did I do enough? What did I have to do? Or, if I could have done things differently. You're no longer beating yourself up over it. You understand that it is a natural progression, a natural stage, evolution in your love life. And so it's forced you to be a really strong person. And whatever you did, you realize you did it to the best of your capabilities. And it has nothing to do with your emotional investment. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's just, it's not meant to be, I guess. Some of you are dealing here with a water sign, another water sign. So another Scorpio or a Pisces or a Cancer. And I feel that there is a lot of compatibility here between you and that person. Okay. So if you are, for whatever reason, thinking about water sign, it's really important for you to make your feelings known because I feel that it can work out really well for you here. This is a very nurturing, loving, person. And I feel like they have a really good heart. Okay. So he or she has a very good heart and possibly with children already in the picture, but that's minor. I feel that you're dealing with somebody that is very compatible with you. So if you're contending with a relationship that hasn't been very compatible in the past, I feel that you might contemplate letting it go and shifting towards somebody that is a lot more compatible for you. So coming into the future, I have here the Three of Coins, and the Three of Coins is basically having very positive communication, having kind of like a common direction in which people can move forward, okay? It's linked up here with the Three of Swords. So I honestly feel a lot of you are in a relationship that's not working. You've got somebody else kind of like in the wings, and somebody that is a lot more, I want to say like, somebody who is a lot more compatible with you, who wants the same things from you, as you, and who is proving to be a lot more emotionally supportive as well. You don't feel alone in that relationship. So there might be some shifting in relationships, like breaking up with one partner and shifting into a new relationship, okay? Or if you're dating like two people, for example, you might have to break off with one and then taking things to the next level with the other person. In the future position, we also have here the Queen of Swords, and this is an air sign coming through. So an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and this is somebody that's actually very compatible with you. In general, this is somebody who's very truthful, honest. They're quirky, they're eccentric, okay? So whenever I see this card, I think about like Aquarius because, or Gemini too, mainly because of the two face, the dual face. So somebody that is very, they're eccentric, they're very different, and I feel like there's an element of unpredictability associated with them. So I do sense overall with this signal, with this Three of Pentacles, it indicates that there is some attraction that you have here in your work environment. And I do sense as well, for some of you, you're really reassessing your relationships. And I do feel many of you are going to be shifting, possibly putting an end to a relationship. And a lot of it has to do with, you know, if you are in a relationship with an air sign here, you might be reassessing where the relationship is headed. I feel like there's some work or some financial constraints that's coming through. So if you are dealing with an air sign in a romantic capacity, they could be an ex, or they could be a new person, or they could be a current partner. There are some discussions that needs to be had regarding, you know, future planning, finances, and things like that. It might be an ex too coming back in because you have some lingering attachment via children, for example, with them. Okay. So I hope the reading has been helpful for you, Scorpios. I feel like the major focus for this month is about, you know, embracing the new energy and letting old energies go. Okay. Letting the past reside in the past and not making a comeback. And I also feel the month itself is heavily focused on new ideas, new innovations, new ways of doing. And so I feel like you're going to be quite busy for the month of June. So the relationship, I feel, is kind of like on the back burner. But, you know, since I do the love readings, it's coming out here. But I feel like it's like very marginal. It's very peripheral in the greater, you know, the greater energy of the month is not really focused on the relationship overall. Okay.